somewhere. Just raising my son, man. That's it for real. Have some peace of mind for real, man.
So what's something you want to tell your son if he see this?
Tell my son, something I want to tell my son if he see this. Man, he great. He can do anything he want to do. Ain't nothing he can't do in life. You feel me? And give it your all. You feel me?
So I believe you said you didn't have your father, right?
Not in the physical.
Yeah, not in the physical.
Nah.
So
my father's been in jail my whole life, man. He's on 30 years. He actually had court today. You feel me, on this appeal, so. But yeah, my father, even from the jail though, my father had a big impact on me. So I always knew I was great, man. I don't know. I just knew who I was from the beginning. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
December 28th, 2025, River North, Chicago. The streets are lit with neon signs and the buzz of nightlife winding down. It's 2:35 in the morning. Four men approach a gleaming green Porsche SUV parked near the corner of North LaSalle Drive and West Hubbard Street. They're laughing, probably talking about the night, about plans for tomorrow. Then, out of nowhere, four figures emerge in the shadows on foot. No words, no warning, just gunfire. Over 24 shell casings would later be scattered across the pavement. One of those men, 34-year-old DeAndre Golden, known to thousands as 051 Woo, wouldn't make it out alive. If you're already gripped by this and want to dive deeper into real stories that demand attention and justice, do me a favor right now. Hit that like button, subscribe to CrimeLab Report, and smash that bell icon. Because every view, every share, every comment keeps cases like this from fading into background. Don't let this story disappear. Let's get into it. DeAndre Golden wasn't just another name in Chicago's long list of heartbreak. He was a brother, a son, a face many recognize from drill music documentaries and interviews. But more than that, he was the older brother of Yarma Williams, better known as 051 Melly, one of the most talked about figures in Chicago's drill scene before his own life was cut short back in September 2019. Melly's end was brutal. Taken out at a house party in Woodlawn by someone he thought was on his side. They call it a backdoor hit. That kind of betrayal doesn't just hurt, it changes everything. After Melly's passing, Wu became the face of what people called the Melly Way movement. He appeared in interviews, shared memories, tried to keep his brother's name alive. He wasn't out here making music or chasing clout the same way. He was quieter, more reflective, but still deeply tied to the streets and the set that raised him, 051 Young Money, a faction of Mickey Cobras operating out of Oakland and Kenwood on Chicago's South Side. This wasn't just a neighborhood. This was a battleground. For nearly 2 decades, 051 Young Money had been locked in a vicious conflict with THF 46, another Mickey Cobra subset, and their allies. The bad blood started back in 2008, when a young man named Isaiah Walker, known as Zico, was shot and taken from this world by members of THF 46. That single act sparked the creation of 051 Young Money the following year, and what came after was a cycle of revenge that never seemed to stop. Melly had been one of the most aggressive voices in that war. His name rang out, his actions echoed, and when he was taken in 2019, many thought the storm might settle. But storms like this don't just disappear. They wait, they build, they come back harder. Fast forward to October 26, 2025. THF Bayzoo, a rapper and prominent member of THF 46, was purchasing auto parts in Little Village when 2 armed individuals approached him and his bodyguards. Shots rang out. Bayzoo, whose real name was Devonsha Collier, was rushed to Mount Sinai Hospital but didn't survive. He was 35 years old, close to Lil Durk, respected in his circle. And just like that, another life was gone. The streets started whispering. Retaliation was coming. It always does. 2 months later, on a cold December morning, those whispers became reality. So picture this. It's the last weekend before New Year's. Chicago's River North neighborhood is packed. Clubs are closing, restaurants wrapping up late-night service, and people are spilling out onto the streets. River North isn't the South Side. It's not Englewood or Woodlawn. This is a hard downtown, where tourists come, where high-rises tower over boutique shops and upscale lounges. It's supposed to be safer. But that night, safety was an illusion. DeAndre Golden, 051 Wu, was out with 3 friends. They'd been enjoying themselves, probably trying to decompress from everything life had thrown at them. At 34 years old, Wu had seen more loss than most people see in a lifetime. His brother gone, friends gone, a stepfather, Jerome Golden, known as Frito, locked away for life on charges tied to multiple homicides. The weight of all that doesn't just vanish because you're in a different neighborhood. It follows you. And on this night, so did something else. They approached their vehicle, that distinctive green Porsche SUV gleaming under the streetlights. Maybe they were talking about grabbing food. Maybe they were heading home. We'll never know what those final casual moments felt like, because as they reach the doors, for individuals materialize on foot. No car screeching up, no dramatic entrance. Just 4 figures walking up like they'd been waiting, like they knew exactly where to be and when. Then chaos. Gunfire erupted. Not a single shot. Not a warning. A storm of bullets. Witnesses would later describe hearing what sounded like fireworks. That rapid pop, pop, pop that makes your heart drop before your brain even registers what's happening. Over 25 shell casings were recovered from the scene. That's not a quick hit. That's an execution attempt. Reports suggest both handgun and rifle rounds were used, meaning this was coordinated, planned, and meant to leave no survivors. All 4 men were struck. The 36-year-old took a round to the chest. The 43-year-old was hit in the back. The 35-year-old suffered multiple wounds to his body. All 3 would end up in critical condition, but would eventually survive. DeAndre Golden wasn't so fortunate. He was hit multiple times, torso and extremities. Emergency responders rushed him to Northwestern Memorial Hospital, one of the best trauma centers in the city. But the damage was too severe. He was pronounced gone shortly after arrival. Now think about that for a second. For people out together. For people who probably felt safe in a busy downtown area surrounded by cameras and late-night crowds. And in under a minute, everything changed. 1 life ended. 3 others scarred forever. And 4 shooters vanished into the night like ghosts. Chicago Police Department detectives assigned to Area 3 immediately launched an investigation. They combed through surveillance footage from nearby businesses, interviewed witnesses who were too terrified to say much, and tried to piece together who these 4 individuals were and where they came from. But here's the thing about hits like this. They're carried out by people who know how to disappear. No descriptions were released. No vehicle information. Nothing. It's like they evaporated. Social media exploded within hours. The hashtag 051 Woo started trending. Fans of drill music, people who'd followed Melly's story, members of the Melly Way community, all flooded timelines with rest in peace messages, shock, disbelief. My Mixapez tweeted out the news calling Wu a Chicago drill legend's brother, and the post went viral. But it wasn't just mourning. Rival factions, particularly THF 46 and 600, posted cryptic messages, mocking tones, celebrating what they saw as a victory. That's the reality of this world. One side grieves while the other gloats. And the cycle keeps spinning. You ever ask yourself, what kind of hatred runs so deep that taking a life feels like a win? What kind of environment creates that mindset? Stick with me, because we're about to break down exactly how this connects to something that happened just 2 months earlier.
Y'all remember when we used to watch this sound like ever since THF Bayzoo was killed in Chicago, there has been one question looming across the entire streets of Chicago. Where to get back, who gonna spend, and who did it? Well, that's a couple of more than one question. And what ended up happening today was a video floated out of somebody in a green Lambo, and they got dissected, bruh, because folk, you know what? Let the news tell it. Now, if you are renting a Lambo and you probably need like $20, $30, $40, $50, boom, that wasn't him. That was somebody named Zoe, and unfortunately he had passed, and if you want confirmation, but there is footage of the shooting that did happen. See, there was footage. He was killed in Chicago, and we actually, unfortunately, get to see. Now, to a lot of people in Chicago, they know him as 051 Melly's brother. But to the other people in the world, bro, they know him this year for basically going viral for him and 600 Breezy and Shark on Land being on camera with Grove Hero. It got a little bit intense or combative, but let him tell exactly what happened. And in that last picture, you seen him being a freaking tech for solar panels and all that stuff, which that's great. That's dope. That's amazing. But you should have moved yourself right across the states to Iowa, bro. That's where the money is at for all that shit, because there's no way that you have a name, Bayzoo is dead, and all of a sudden you actually troll Bayzoo. Then you said some little here's and there's. I'll tell you. So you trolled him. I get it. Bayzoo's a name. And Bayzoo 100% expected people to try to drag his name through the mud, troll him, and say all of this shit and disrespect his name when he died. Bayzoo 100% knew that. So anybody who would say, oh, no, this, that. Nah, they do it. They've done it. All that shit. But when you're changing your life, you're supposed to leave. Can't stay in your city. It's Chicago. So realistically, unless you went down south, like went down at 57, but you really
Let's rewind to October 26, 2025. THF Bayzoo, real name Devonsha Collier, 35 years old, was in Little Village on the southwest side doing something completely normal. He was buying auto parts. 2 bodyguards were with him because when you're connected the way he was, you don't move alone. But even that wasn't enough. 2 armed individuals approached, opened fire, and Bayzoo was rushed to Mount Sinai Hospital, where he later passed away. He was tight with Lil Durk, respected in the THF 46 circle, and his passing sent shockwaves through that community. Now here's where it gets real. Exactly 2 months later, almost the day, 051 Wu is taken out in River North. Coincidence? Not in this world. The war between 051 Young Money and THF 46 didn't start yesterday. It didn't even start 5 years ago. This goes back to 2008 when Isaiah Walker, known as Zico, was shot and taken out by THF 46 members at McDonald's parking lot. That single act birthed 051 Young Money in 2009, and what followed was 17 years of back-and-forth bloodshed. Melly became one of the most aggressive figures in that conflict, reportedly involved in multiple serious incidents, including the passing of OTF Chino, who was Lil Durk's manager at the time. When Melly was taken in 2019, many thought the violence might slow down. But violence like this doesn't retire. It just waits for the next opportunity. Wu's passing wasn't random. It was calculated. For shooters on foot with multiple weapons in a coordinated strike, that takes planning, surveillance, and motive. Investigators are looking into social media activity, Instagram live sessions where locations may have been shared, diss tracks that kept the tension boiling. In today's world, your digital footprint can become your downfall. One post, one tag location, one moment of letting your guard down, and someone who's been watching knows exactly where to find you. As of now, no arrests have been officially confirmed by Chicago police, though social media chatter suggests a suspect may be in custody. The investigation remains active. Detectives are sifting through evidence, interviewing witnesses who are understandably reluctant to speak, and trying to connect us that span nearly 2 decades of conflict. The challenge isn't just solving one case. It's understanding how this case fits into a much larger, much darker picture of generational warfare that's claimed dozens of lives on both sides. Think about the families left behind. Wu's mother lost both of her sons within 6 years. Imagine that kind of pain. Imagine burying one child, trying to hold it together, and then losing another. His family isn't just mourning. They're living in a nightmare that keeps repeating. And on the other side, THF 46 families have experienced the same heartbreak. Bayzoo's loved ones are grieving too. This isn't a movie. These are real people with real emotions, real trauma, and no clear path to healing. The community reaction has been split. Some call for peace, saying enough is enough. Activists like Andrew Holmes warned after the July River North mass shooting that a cycle of retaliation was coming. And he was right. Others feel trapped in a system where survival means loyalty to your set, where walking away isn't an option because walking away looks like weakness. And in that environment, weakness gets you hurt or worse. Here's what I want you to think about. What drives someone to plan and execute something like this? Is it loyalty? Is it revenge? Is it fear that if you don't strike first, you'll be next? And at what point does the cycle become so heavy that no one even remembers why it started? How many more lives have to be lost before change happens? These aren't easy questions, and I want to hear your thoughts in the comments below. What would it take to break a cycle like this? What kind of intervention? What kind of shift in mindset? What kind of community support could actually make a difference? If the story moved you, if it made you think, do me a solid, share this video. Drop a comment with your perspective. Subscribe to CrimeLab Report if you haven't already, because we're not just telling stories. We're shining a light on the systems and cycles that need to be broken. Check out our other videos for more cases that need attention. And if you have information about this case or any case we cover, reach out to authorities. Anonymous tips save lives. Let's keep the conversation going. Let's demand better. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.